Alright, so let's just watch a couple of Dynamite 2, the gameplay real quick.
So I had the opportunity to go to San Francisco and play an early build of Dying Light 2 with a bunch of other creators. Keep in mind that Dying Light 1 is one of my favorite games of all time, so when I got an email about this opportunity, I hopped on it faster than Ubisoft hops on shitty game ideas. So I spent a few days last week in San Francisco and got to experience nearly 5 hours of uninterrupted gameplay and an amazing event space that was decorated to a Dying Light 2 theme. If you want to see more of what that was like, follow me on Instagram at Robocast and join my new group chat full of other gamers and fans to talk about it. Both will be linked in the description. After getting to the venue, having some drinks and socializing, we went into the room to begin our playtest. We didn't start from the beginning of the game, and we were thrown in a little ways to start, so my impression and review today is going to be based off of what I saw and experienced in my limited amount of time. I'm going to start by showing off a bit of gameplay, then I'm going to hop into an analysis of the things I experienced and end with a comparison to some of the things in the original Dying Light game. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. Here's the backstory. You play as a guy named Aiden Caldwell, a pilgrim who wanders around the post-apocalyptic world in a perpetual state of motion.
Is that stamina?
In this wasteland of a world, there's only one city remaining, the city of Villador. Aiden ends up in Villador to find his sister, but a series of events
hold up. Did you just say one city? That's it?
Aiden's wasteland of a world, there's only one city remaining, the city of Villador.
Only
Aiden
one?
ends up in Villador to find his sister, but a series of events leads to a much bigger story involving war, death, different factions, and a large number of infected.
All these years?
As I first loaded in...
All these years we've been waiting for Dying Light 2 and you only have one city? Bruh.
To the world of Villador, I quickly realized how dark and decrepit it felt. The setting is quoted as being the modern Dark Ages, a time when civilization is in the process of rebuilding and adapting to survive. Everything was dirty, decaying, and dangerous down on the street.
No, that water don't look dirty at all, dude. That water does not look dirty at all. If it's like a dirty water, it'll be full of shit.
And adapting to survive.
That looks really
Everything was dirty, decaying, and dangerous down on the streets. It really did feel like you were in a world that didn't want you.
But this quality though.
But up above, on the rooftops of these threatening areas, was hope. You see, one of the main factions
Dude, I hope this is not the actual quality of the game.
In the game, the survivors, live up on the rooftops and create safe spaces in which they can thrive and try their best to be normal again. This is where you'll spend most of your time, spaces in which they can thrive and try their best to be normal again.
You know what this is? What this reminds me of? Fallout. It's literally Fallout 4. You build a settlement and then like what, you have your people farming for food and such, and then you craft weapons, equipments on the open world.
This is where you'll spend most of your time as you're parkouring between objectives.
Except this has
trying to avoid the
parkour.
infected.
Dude, they have the same materials.
This is where you'll spend most of your time as
Look
you're
at
parkouring between objectives.
Look at this. Isn't this shit from Fallout 4? Is this or this thing? Literally the same, right? What the Tato plan or some shit? It's similar to Fallout 4, dude. Did the same developer, did the Fallout developer just go into Dying Light and be like, guys, let me just copy on homework real quick here.
Infected-ridden streets and alleyways below. The first section of the map that I got to experience was called Old Villador, and it was full of shorter, squattier, colonial-era buildings. This part of the map absolutely blew me away.
Dying Light.
The obstacles and objects spread around the region really felt natural, and the layout of the city seemed as if it was a believable one. Since most of your traversal is spent jumping from rooftop to rooftop, there were a near unlimited amount of routes that you could take, and everything flowed together to make a seamless parkour experience. You could jump from...
So... Alright, so he says there's a lot of places you can go, except for... I'm pretty sure those windows that is locked down, you can't go in. And it says anywhere you go you can go. Yeah, cool, dude. Alright, I see how the game stops you from going through a building now.
Buildings, onto light posts, across man-made bridges, onto balconies and catwalks, down zip lines, and even inside a lot of the buildings. Old Villador instantly drew me in, and I was immersed into one of the best open world maps that I've ever experienced. The first part of the map in the first game was good, and I enjoyed playing it quite a bit. But Old Villador trumps the slums of Haran by a long shot due to the complexity of the environment and how much fun it is to traverse. While the slums had lots of low, squatty, repetitive buildings, Old Villador takes it to another level and changes it up as you explore the city. There's a lot of verticality.
Nah fam, you didn't even finish the Dying Light 1, dude. Dying Light 1 literally you go through a sewer and then you explore a new map. This is only one city, bruh. In Dying Light 1, we had 3 cities, including the DLC, the following. But dude, that was
in the world of Dying Light 2, and the designers took the charm of Haran and added a lot of depth that makes it much more interesting to explore. Since the survivors are on the roofs and the dead are on the ground, your exploration strategy depends heavily on what it is you're trying to accomplish. If you want some action, hop down below and fight off bandits or infected. If you want to travel, hop onto the roofs and jump between building to building as you explore. Or if you want a challenge, go into the dark zones. Dark zones are a new feature that didn't exist in the first game. These are dark...
Are you sure about that?
Crevices usually inside of a building where all of the heliophobic infected cram inside to avoid the sunlight like they're avid Funko Pop collectors. There are tons of infected inside, and if you go into these to explore during the day, you're gonna have a bit of a challenge.
Now we had a quarantine
plus the countless interactions, side quests.
The Dying Light 1 had a quarantine zone. It's literally dark. Yeah. These guys are missing out Dying Light 1, dude.
And safe zone capture.
You know, the developer, who's the developer? Developer of the Dying Light 2 should just give me a copy. I never play the game. Oh, dude, I'll give a good critic about it, man. Like, I've been a fan of I'm not the biggest fan, but I can say I really like the first Dying Light. But saying this, bruh, are you serious? This is just like a Fallout 4 NPCs just hanging around.
Activities that you find really help to make Villador into a living, breathing world. And an actual one, not a gimmicky one. Speaking of safe zones, the first game made safe zones kind of annoying to capture. You usually had to climb up a ridiculously tedious cell tower or building, clear out tons of zombies, and flip a switch to activate a safe zone. Then some magical survivors would show up and stand around, making it feel like a wax museum that allows you to sleep in it. Dying Light 2 tremendously improved this mechanic, however, as safe zones are now abandoned windmills that you have to climb and secure for the survivors.
This guy, dude, has he not played Dying Light 1? It's literally the same. You have to go around and capture your checkpoint, your save point. Oh my god.
Once you figure out how to climb the different designs of windmills,
he got paid
you
to say all
and
this
a
shit.
group of active, realistic survivors take residence in the area and improve them into a makeshift survival camp. As you capture these, they make the world feel even more alive, and the variation makes it much more enjoyable than in the first game. Now, all of that was just about the first region of Old Villador, but that isn't even the entire map. In the second part,
it's much more likely because back then in Dying Light 1, Haran was just dead. Like everywhere you go is just zombies and there's no humans. But now this is like the civilization outside of Haran. I mean, sorry, outside of safe zone or safe zone, something like that. And there's even a hot air balloon. What the fuck?
Part of my playthrough, we traveled over to Central Loop, the business district.
Napoleon.
This part actually blew my mind, and even though I was supposed to do some other missions in my playtest at this point, I said screw it and spent time exploring the world. Central Loop took the verticality that I mentioned earlier and multiplied it by 1,000. There were hundreds of skyscrapers, abandoned buildings, train stations, and all sorts of other places spread into this area, and each and every one of them allowed for nearly full vertical traversal. This means that, unlike most games, the skyscrapers weren't just hollow shells and that you could actually jump between them, go inside, around, and under them. Not to mention, the developers added this epic glider that allowed you to get between buildings easier and more efficiently. This made Central Loop even better, and without spoiling too much about it, it was an outstanding experience that made me even more excited about this game.
What the fuck? He just boosted himself up?
Now that I talked about the map for a bit, I want to take a minute to talk about the story. I'm not going to spoil anything because games like this are much better when you experience them yourself. However, I do want to talk about some general points. The story in Dying Light 1 was one of the few weak parts of the game.
Weak?
Some people loved it, some people hated it, but honestly, I was impartial to it. I didn't play Dying Light 1 for the story anyways, so
what? You didn't play Dying Light 1 for the story? What the fuck, dude? Oh, dude, this guy, man, this fucking guy. Talk about a fan of Dying Light 1 but don't even play the story and criticize the story.
But I will tell you, I will be playing Dying Light 2 with the story as a big selling point. The team really stepped up their writing from the first game, and I was quite impressed. The characters are much more well-rounded than Dying Light 1, and they each seem to have their own personalities and quirks that makes them worth learning more about. They didn't feel like copy and paste NPCs, but like actual people with unique traits and characteristics.
I can't, dude.
As you interact with them in missions and in between, their dialogue felt realistic, and the choices that you had to make actually took some thought.
This guy literally got paid to
choices are a
say
big
all
selling
this shit.
point of this game, and the choices that you get to make will drastically impact the story and the
What is that neck? What the fuck? Look at this guy, dude. This guy, what the fuck, dude? Yeah, this is not a good showcase, man. This is not a good showcase at all.
World that I mentioned earlier. For example, in one section, I had to pick whether to allocate resources to the peacekeepers or the survivors, and depending on which I picked, the world would either change with the addition of more zip lines or traps that could kill
hold on. What is this? Assign to peacekeeper, assign to survivor, reward, assign water tower? So you can choose what this thing does? Huh. You can either have a PK bolt cannon or airbags. Survivor place airbags in all zones controlled by them. Bolt cannon in all zones controlled by them.
Picked, the world would either change with the addition of more zip lines or traps that could kill zombies. So your choices quite literally change the world itself.
Where's the nukes?
The two factions are called Peacekeepers and Survivors, and as you progress and make decisions to side with each of them, the story adapts as you do. There's apparently a third faction according to the trailer, but I only got to experience guys with heart, soul, and passion put into everything they do, while the Peacekeepers, or the PKs, were the authoritarian bad dudes who want absolute control over the city. You can choose between each of these, and probably the third option too, and play the story however you want.
This is the thing I want to hear.
Throughout your time in Villador, you will definitely be getting into some combat, so you want it to be
some new
fun.
monsters.
And the combat in Dying Light 2 takes the foundation from the first game and builds upon it. One of the best mechanics that the team added was the ability to parry. Combat in the first game always felt a bit sloppy and like you just had to spam click to make it work, but you can actually block in Dying Light 2. So instead of all of your combat experiences just being swinging at supersonic speed hoping to kill everyone, you can use a bit of strategy and get into actual fights. They also added a stealth mechanic in the game as well, which wasn't really a big thing in the first game. Honestly though, I'm not a big fan of the majority of stealth scenarios, and I didn't...
Oh dude, I like this. I really like this. You can actually see your weapons now. Instead of just a plain, what do you call it? Is it a black and white? Yeah, black and white kind of picture. Now it is a full-on picture, actual weapon showcase.
I find them super enjoyable when I played the game. When I think good stealth, I think of Dishonored, where the entire game is centered around stealth. But in Dying Light 2, it honestly felt like more of an afterthought, and I would personally be okay with it being removed. The one thing I did like about the stealth, however, was the bow and arrow. The bows are a bit OP and definitely need to be nerfed, but I have to say they were fun as hell when I did a bandit camp stealth raid and was one-shotting everyone in the head.
Of course it's fun,
so in short, the parrying is really good, the bow is a lot of fun, and the stealth is, well, meh.
Not the best.
Another thing they changed in Dying Light 2 is weapon repairs. In the first game, each of your weapons could be repaired a few times to make sure that when you added mods to them, you could continue to use them. In 2, however, repairable weapons aren't a thing.
Oh my god, I remember doing this, the first Dying Light. Every single zombie that drops all the loot, and you just had to grab them by one. Oh boy, that was hectic, dude. It was so annoying. There's so many zombies I killed in one area, and then I just had to collect every single one of them.
I don't know if they're planning on adding them in the full game or not, but I will say that it was a little annoying when I would mod and enjoy using a weapon, and then have to throw it out because it broke.
Oh wait, does it have it?
To them, in the first game, each of your weapons could be repaired a few. Change in Dying Light 2.
No, it doesn't show. They don't show it.
Annoying when I would mod and enjoy using a weapon, and then have to throw it out because it broke. I would be fine with them adding a way for you to repair them, maybe at a shop for money or something, but not being able to is not the answer. My favorite thing about the changes to the combat is the complete removal of guns. Guns are fun in the first game, and it's always nice to make fights a little easier when you're holding an AR-15. But I will say, it does remove a lot of the challenge in the game, and ultimately makes it less fun.
Need those guns, dude.
In Dying Light 2, there are no guns, just bows and crossbows.
No, 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 no. You gotta be joking with me. No guns? Excuse me? Where was it? Where was it? Is it actually no gun? Are you sure about that?
The full game AR-15. Love it. Dying Light 2, there are no guns.
No guns?
Just bows and crossbows. Some people probably see this as a bad thing, but I personally love it because it makes the game more of a challenge, and it also fits very well with the whole modern Dark Ages theme that the developers
actually no
are going
guns?
for. What are your thoughts on the removal of the world? But I do want to add a few things.
Trains?
There are
whoa, okay, how big is the world?
parkour a bit in the first section about the world, but
alright, we see a lot of greeneries and a lot of there's a mall and a big building, but we can't go in there.
I do want to
cool. Dude, this map don't look big at all. This doesn't
things.
look big at all, dude. What is this? It looks so compact in one
There are
place.
lots of new abilities in the game, including wall running, vaulting between obstacles, launching
It's
yourself
like they just
further
want to
off a
shove
building,
everything
and
into
even that
one
beautiful glider that I
single
mentioned
CP,
earlier. The developers kept a lot of the foundation for the parkour found in the first game and polished it up with new additions and a few minor changes. This was definitely a smart decision because the parkour is the real selling point of Dying Light.
The parkour
and with the new and
doesn't
improved
seem that
map
nice
and other
anymore,
additions
to be
found in
honest.
2, it makes it even better.
No,
I'd
I
go
don't
as far
think
to say
so.
that it was the most satisfying parkour that I'd ever experienced in a video game. The most happened because the parkour addition and a few
unsatisfying is that you
minor
look at this.
foundation for the
It's like you're just flying up. You're just
parkour
flying
found
up
in the first
in the
game
first
and polished
game.
it up with new additions and a few minor.
Look at that.
Of the foundation for the parkour.
It's like you're just sliding up. It's a slideshow. It's a one slide to another slide. Literally what you call that, a PDF file, or it's just a PowerPoint slides, you know.
Found in the first
Literally
game
just going
and
up,
polished it up with new additions.
going up. Look at that, bro. There's not like a jumping animation.
Minor
Where's the
changes.
jumping animation?
This was definitely a
Oh my god, what is this?
smart decision because the
This
parkour is
doesn't
the
look like
real
jumping
selling
at all.
point
I don't
of
like
Dying
this.
Light.
The
And with
parkour
the new
and
and improved
you need
map
to
and
fix
other
that
additions,
shit. Look at
parkour
this.
is the real selling point
Usually
of
at
Dying
the first
Light.
one, you will like
And
you
with the
can see
new and
like
improved map and other additions found in
he's gonna struggle a bit. He's almost falling down. But this is just so
it makes
smooth.
it even better.
Like
I'd go as far to say that it was the most satisfying parkour that I'd
like, there's
ever
no
experienced in a
shakiness.
video game.
What call that, like him
There are a
getting
few other
shaken
things that I
around.
really liked about Dying Light 2. First of all, they removed the minimap. One thing I noticed
No
about games with
minimap?
minimaps
Okay,
is that
cool,
I spend
cool.
a lot
I
of
don't
time
mind that.
focusing on that tiny little circle in the corner instead of focusing on what's around me.
I mean, they do have
In
a
Red Dead
map on
2,
top.
I am using the circle as my navigation instead of learning landmarks and exploring the world itself. So, with it being gone, I can now focus more on Villador and less on my HUD. There were a few times when I was absolutely lost because of this change, but overall it makes it a lot more immersive. Plus, there's a compass on the top of your screen to help you learn the general direction you're going. When you're in the
Okay,
area that you
dude.
need to be in, the compass lights up in a different color, showing that you're in the right place. Which was, on the other hand, was the addition of all of these magical icons all over the screen on the HUD. They added health bars to zombies, which is something that a lot of people didn't really seem to like. Personally, it didn't really bother me too bad, but looking back and watching this footage now, it's definitely a bit messy, and I think it's something that they could definitely get away with removing.
Nope, I don't like that.
In conclusion, I think it's something
I don't like the
that
HP bar on enemies, dude. I wanna have like a something that we don't expect, like something we actually don't we don't know. Like, all right, we kill a zombie, and then suddenly the zombie just grab my leg, and just trying to kill me. You know, dude, that was the satisfying part. Like, if we know the zombies can is there still some HP on the zombies? Of course, we're just gonna kill him, right? So it is not that great. Oh, what is this? Dynamite co-op gameplay trailer? Oh wait, hold up. Gameplay co-op. Hold on, let me check this out. Bro, it looks sick. Hold on. Wait, this is a bit too big, isn't it? No, wait, I'm on the wrong screen. My bad. What's this? Alright. Dude, this looks sick. What the fuck? Look at this. This is a co-op. Damn, bro. Woohoo! Definitely. So there's definitely no weapons, huh? No weapons now. Co-op gameplay trailer. Let's go. Wait, is it a 1080p? Yep. 1080p. Dude. Co-op. Let's go. Any friends here wanna play? But I don't have a beta key though. Because I'm not. I guess I'm not too famous for developers by now. Oh, dude. You just swing left and right. That's the thing.
We'd once again like to thank you all for your.
Alright, cool, dude.